When is the stock market going to crash, or is it due a healthy correction? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to have a quick look at in this video. Everywhere you look, there are headlines of an impending crash on Twitter, on YouTube, on lots of different websites. I even saw it on the Times newspaper today. And people have been predicting the crash of the stock market for quite some time, maybe more than a year. Some people are suggesting that the crash is going to happen in October this year, and we're going to emulate Black Monday of October 1987. And others are saying because of the AI boom, the geopolitical unrest, the things that governments around the world are doing, we are just walking into a stock market crash, especially with these stock markets in the US in particular on a massive high, in particular because of the Magnificent Seven tech stocks and the AI bubble that's driving those stocks to go up. And it seems, at least recently, that the UK has finally caught on to that, and we're having that equal wave. We're having that second wave of stock market rises. And you do wonder, whether you're a positive or a negative person, how long can this last? So in my mind, a stock market crash is 20% or more down. I'm not sure if that's what everyone thinks, but I believe a stock market crash is 20%. A correction is 10. And even though the AI stocks are way overvalued, and there's many of these AI companies that are startups that are going bust, that are overstretching themselves, borrowing too much, I think the main stock market, not only in the UK but the US, the fundamentals are okay. And it doesn't seem to me that we're heading for a 1987 or a 2008 kind crash. It doesn't feel like that. And as I said, it feels to me as if there is going to be any change, it's going to be a correction where the domino effect happens and people pull their money out because they're scared. And that's probably what's going to happen. But the fundamentals are still okay. The challenge we have in the UK in particular is that in November, we're due to have a budget. And it's likely that the UK government are going to bring in all sorts of new measures, in particular, try to raise taxes, not only from individuals, but from companies. And I think that's going to definitely have a negative impact on the stock market. It's definitely going to have a negative impact on the economy and industry. And because of that, I think if there is likely to be a crash that's going to happen, or at least a correction, it's going to be in the UK in November, that sort of time when the budget has just taken place. I don't think the market's going to enjoy it. With me thinking that it's going to be a correction, or something's got to happen, something's got to give, what's my plan? What am I going to do about it? Well, what I think I'm going to do is just to try to maintain the gains that I've made on my £200 account. I'm going to look to sell off anything I can. So for instance, Rio Tinto is now sort of gaining. So when that gets me enough money, when I feel confident enough to sell that, I'm going to sell it off and just keep hold of the money. And I'm going to try to do the same with the other stocks I've got, where they're going to positive territory. I'm going to keep the money in my account, and when the correction does happen, then I'm going to look for the bargain stocks, and then I'm going to buy low when that happens, and then I'm going to keep hold of those. Hopefully they'll come back, because it always does. That's the thing about the stock market, that's why holding on to stocks in the long term wins. It always wins, because the long term irons out all those peaks and troughs. So eventually you will become a winner, but you've got to stick with it in the long term. As far as my index funds, and I have lots of index funds with lots of money in them, I'm just going to leave them. If the stock market does a correction, if it goes down like a lead balloon, I know over time it will come back. I know I might not have as much time as many of you, but in even the short time that I've got available to maintain my index funds, I think they're going to continue to rise. That's why I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to leave them as they are. But as far as my £200 account is concerned, I've got to play with that a little bit. I'm not going to sell at a loss. If it's at a loss, it's at a loss. I'm going to keep it. But if I can offload any of my shares that are in profit, I'm going to do that when I can and just hold on to the money. But if you're interested, we can have a quick look at where my account is today. It's always worth having a look, see what's happened, because there has been a little bit of extra movement. Here's a look at my £200 trading account, and as you can see, Rio Tinto is up 1.22% and all the rest are down. Anywhere between 1.25% are all negative, which is just typical because I've had a really good run in the last week. I've been up pretty much every day, so I expected that to change. So where are these shares? Where do they stand? So Taylor Wimpey is hovering around negative £10. Primary Health Hospital has pulled back a bit, so it's negative about £3. Keller Group continues to make good gains, so it's only down negative 40 pence, and that's with a 0.25% decline today. But the real positive story is Rio Tinto, which is currently positive £3.74, and that's because there's all this really positive mining news. It just keeps coming and coming. So it makes sense that Rio Tinto will have picked up. And my fingers across the Rio Tinto keeps coming up and up and up. That'd be really, really good if it does. And it gives me the opportunity to sell it. So where's my account overall? Let's have a look at the overall number for today. So I'm £354.76. So that's gone up a couple of pounds. It says £1.70 since the last, since Friday. And that puts me at a 77% markup. So I've done quite well really in my account. Yeah, that's where I am. Thank you very much indeed for listening, and I hope it's been interesting. If it has, why not give it a like? That'd be awesome. And if you are really enjoying this finance content, I know it can be dry at times, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. Most of you don't subscribe, so if you can subscribe, that would be amazing. Thank you very much if you have already. Once again, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.